Hey, what's up, guys? You know me, I always like the GI Combat. And looking through the place at the comic store I like, they have a lot of new old stuff. They always move stuff, which I like. So I was looking for old GI Combats. Somebody they got a bunch from someone, I guess, that were in really good condition, so they're really expensive. So I go for the cheaper comic that's maybe not in the greatest condition. This is about $4. Right? But because I'm interested in the story, not as in the collectors. And particularly this era of the Haunted Tank. This is the least one I've seen. I remember the early ones with the Stewart, and of course all the ones in the '80s with the M4. But the Jigsaw Tank era, I mean, they should have kept this thing for so many reasons. It would just add to the bizarreness of this, and also it would explain story wise why they were able to fight, knock out tiger tanks and stuff with this tank that they built. Right? Of course, you can see the old '70s, covers. They would have word balloons a lot. Of course, Joe Kubert drew this, but you see the story. Okay, so September, October, 1974. Yours truly is a little toddler, and starting right off the bat, you see the Sam Glanzman, man. I can't. One of the top. You already the establishing page here. It's really like a splash page. You get to see the foreground. You get to see him somehow seeing the Panzer Shrek team, man. And when you see it, like I said, wow, that's kind of a young looking soldier. The whole idea is like, Lord, they were kids, right? This this is one of the best haunted tank stories I've seen. And Robert Kanigher didn't write this. He could write good stories. He could also write, some hacky stories. But I looked this up. Archie Goodwin, the editor, wrote this. Okay, he's famous, Archie Goodwin. He actually did that Blazing Combat, and this story is kind of representative of this time. Now, '74, Vietnam is pretty much over. Um, but the story, this is like something you would see like in a Japanese comic or TV show, right? Yeah, look at man, that's awesome. So of course the whole thing of the Haunted Tank, right, is that it's the guardian ghost of Jeb Stuart of the Confederacy. Triggering. Ooh. uh, these stories, although there's the supernatural bent to it, they're mostly straight up action stories. The most he ever does is warn them, usually with a riddle. Sometimes he gets involved, but. And of course, the Germans are retreating. Obviously, this is the Alpine region of Italy, it's the north, and then this little conflict here. Now, apparently, this character was in previous issues facing them. Now, he's not just these are not like one-off characters. And of course, the guy with the monocle is the evil Nazi. My men are veterans, please. Still of value to the Reich after this is over. All others are misfits and amateurs made to be sacrificed. Hitler Youth, cripples, and First World War One generals brought out of retirement. Hey, that's him. So it is interesting. You see that he's got to sacrifice his unit, which is these young literally boys. Right? So this is something like Willie Franz would have wrote. So that's why it's interesting. And you have here, right? It's the haunted, right? God, that tank again, the junk pile tank made from parts of a dozen others, right? That's the Jigsaw tank concept, right? It's haunted me through this campaign. Now it's made this defense pointless. So this guy was a recurring character, right? And of course the kids, right? The Allies wish to parley to ask us to surrender, right? No, General, no. We vow to fight to the death. As long as you lead us, we will. And he's like, jeez. So instead he goes, all right, we're going to fight a duel. Oh, man, this is awesome, dude. This is a real story. Right? And he basically told him, he says, yeah, if I lose this duel, you guys, you kids are going to surrender, right? Right, is it clear? Should the Amerikaners defeat me, you and the others will surrender. And it's like, and it's just a duel of the time, And like I said, once again, fucking Tiger Tank, the M4, the Stewart, you gotta be kidding me, okay? This crazy tank they built, this makes this, like I said, they should have kept it, whatever. And it ends, right? My man's still like, this is like something out of Gundam, right? That would come obviously a couple of years later, but you see what I'm saying. But this is an American comic. That's what, of course, it ends, he's like, good shot, her lieutenant. Now my command, my baby soldiers, they would have to surrender, nine. Surrender and survive. And he's like, you staged all this. You intended to lose. You intended to die like this. And he's like, this is like, the Jelly, you call him Jerry's, remember? And tragic. And like I said, this is something you'd see like in a Japanese kind of story. Amazing. And I thought, Robert Kanigher didn't write this. I looked it up. It was Archie Goodwin, the editor. So, look at this. I love doing this. It's interesting, right? What you just saw in this American comic book, 1974. You could show, the other side is that lost as being honorable, right? Capitulate and surrender to the North's superior strength. Right? Yeah. So it's amazing how much things have changed in this country I live in. Okay. And the thing is that it's not inexplicable though. I know why. Okay. You know why too. But let's not get into that. Great comic. Oh, and like I said, this is when G.I. Combat will only have 2 stories. I don't know who Sid Check is. Sounds like a pseudonym, but the Japanese pilots. Now the art's a little weird in this, but a lot of air combat. It's interesting though is they fight the Americans. They actually the Japanese and the Americans kind of destroy each other. Right? There's only 2 left, and the one guy, right, tries to crash into the planes, and this guy decides that's it, right. One of the Hellcats that survived, right, and all of a sudden the Japanese realizes that this guy's gonna ram him as he's gonna ram the ship, right. He finds that the special attack is limited to no one side, no one man. So this dude kamikaze the Japanese guy. Yeah. So interesting story. Interesting. So now I like to look at the thing here, right? Archie, right? Archie Goodwin. That's the Archie here. And apparently this woman, Sherry Cartwright. Who does she think she is? She actually says, right? I was quite perturbed at the poor quality of Glanzman's artwork. Honestly, how did he ever get a job with DC? His figures and facial expressions are stiff in most of the scenes and panels. What, you crazy? So, who knows where this woman is now? Ithaca, up there, upstate. And that explains it. Oh. And I like this, right? What I tell you, right? You should do a story on the Vietnam War. Now, the Vietnam War is 74. The Vietnam War was pretty much done. Most of the Americans were out at this point. He mentions you take one of your great artists, and I had mentioned this: Glanzman, Ross Heath, John Severin. Right, these 3. When I saw this, I said, "Yeah, somebody understands who great artists are." I don't know what this broad was talking about. Yeah, and Archie wrote back. Right, he's already talking about some Ed Davis. I'm not familiar with him. He's a Vietnam veteran. And this, of course, he was leaving DC. So I don't know what Archie Goodwin did after this, but it's interesting looking in the letters when I had mentioned like the war comic book. What I had mentioned to you. Yeah, man, good stuff, man, good stuff. And of course, look at it. Oh, karate. Oh, shit. Bruce Lee had also around this time had passed away. Look at the 100. I remember the 100 pages for 60 cents. Some of these were reprints, but I think they were like news stories. Look, you got your no horror comics. You're not allowed to say horror comics. Your mystery comics. That's what DC would call them because of this thing. Right? Remember, young romance. So you had comics for the Goyles. Kung Fu, yeah, and yo, bro, you lift, bro. I just look at the old ads, comic book. This stuff is all. There's so much triggering stuff in this comic for today's, non-existent comic audience. But for us old timers, man, it's fun looking through this, man. And I'm gonna see if I can find it. I try to find as many of these Jigsaw tank issues as I can. So, and I hope you enjoyed the comic with me. Trying to think if there's anything else in here that's cool, I could show. And it's like, oh, Americans with your gun culture. uh, yep. Like I said, it's all gone.